Alright, imagine this. You're sitting in a packed movie theater. The lights dim, the trailers roll, and then, bam! The logo hits, a roaring lion, a shining castle, or those sleek silver letters across a black screen. You don't need subtitles. You know the rhythm of this. The music swells, the camera swoops, and in minutes, you're hooked. It could be a superhero saga, a dystopian sci-fi, a coming-of-age comedy set in high school hallways that look eerily like the ones you saw on screen when you were a kid. It doesn't matter if you're in Tokyo, Lagos, Sao Paulo, or Stockholm, chances are, you're watching an American film. But have you ever wondered, why? Why is it that Hollywood, more than any other film industry, has its fingerprints all over global culture? Why are American movies the default entertainment diet across so many countries, languages, and traditions? And how did a small district in Los Angeles become the epicenter of the global imagination? The truth is, a mix of timing, technology, politics, and power. But it's also a story about dreams, big ones. Let's rewind. The origins of Hollywood dominance go way back, over a century. In the early 1900s, film was still a novelty, a curiosity. Most movies were short, silent, and shown in traveling exhibitions or Nickelodeons. But something changed in the 1910s and 1920s. American studios began consolidating power. While Europe was entangled in World War I, U.S. filmmakers had time, space, and relatively stable infrastructure to build a film industry. Studios like Universal, Paramount, and Warner Brothers didn't just make films, they built a system. A machine for storytelling. They locked down theaters. They hired in-house writers, directors, and actors under exclusive contracts. And they figured out something critical: if you can sell a story once, you can sell it 1,000 times. The export machine. By the 1930s, American movies weren't just dominating domestic box offices, they were being shipped abroad. Europe, devastated by war and struggling to rebuild its own industries, imported Hollywood hits en masse. And Hollywood gave them what they wanted: romance, escape, fantasy, triumph. Stories that distracted from post-war scars. Then came World War II. And with it, a massive shift. The U.S. didn't just win the war, it won the post-war narrative. American soldiers weren't just boots on the ground, they were heroes on the screen. As the world rebuilt, American films flooded the global market. Hollywood wasn't just entertainment, it was diplomacy. Soft power in action. This is what political scientists call soft power, the ability to influence through attraction rather than coercion. While other countries struggled with censorship, broken infrastructure, and political instability, the U.S. kept exporting not just movies, but ideas, individualism, freedom, consumerism, the American dream. And let's be real, it worked. From the Cold War through the rise of neoliberalism, Hollywood became the face of American culture. Jeans, fast food, Coca-Cola, and blockbuster films. Technology and timing. But here's where the gears really lock in. Hollywood didn't just have good stories, it had good timing. The rise of television, color film, sound, and eventually CGI all aligned with America's dominance in the tech sector. U.S. studios adopted new formats faster, invested more heavily in visual effects, and could afford to take creative risks that other countries simply couldn't. Then came the multiplex. The DVD, streaming. And each time the medium evolved, Hollywood was already there, ready to package its stories for global distribution. Platforms like Netflix, Disney+, and Amazon didn't just bring American content to the world, they rewired global expectations of what storytelling looks like. What makes Hollywood, Hollywood? So what's the secret sauce? Big budgets? Sure. Star power? Absolutely. But more than that, it's the formula. Hollywood learned to refine stories to maximize appeal. Hero's journey. 3-act structure. Relatable characters in extraordinary situations. A little conflict. A little romance. A resolution that feels earned but not too complicated. It's popcorn storytelling, and it works. Plus, let's not forget the spectacle. Explosions. Superheroes. Time travel. Space battles. These are visual experiences, and visual stories travel well across cultures and languages. But at what cost? Here's where things get more complicated. For every global success story, there's a local film industry struggling to compete. In places like Nigeria, India, France, and South Korea, talented filmmakers often find themselves forced to either imitate the Hollywood model or fight for cultural space in a saturated market. Critics argue that Hollywood has flattened the global storytelling landscape, pushing a narrow vision of life, beauty, success, and heroism. And Hollywood itself? Not exactly innocent. The industry has long faced criticism for a lack of diversity, gender inequality, labor disputes, and cultural appropriation. It's powerful, but not always responsible. The global pushback. Still, there's a shift happening. South Korea's Parasite winning the Oscar for Best Picture. India's RRR lighting up global streaming charts. European auteurs reclaiming the art house scene. And platforms like YouTube, TikTok, and regional streaming services giving rise to homegrown creators. The dominance of Hollywood is being challenged, not with brute force, but with stories that are rooted, authentic, and unapologetically local. Because at the end of the day, people want stories that feel true. And Hollywood can't tell everyone's story. So what does the future look like? Well, it's complicated. Hollywood isn't going anywhere. It still has the budgets, the reach, and the infrastructure. But it's no longer the only player. Global audiences are more diverse, more vocal, and more connected than ever. And while American films still dominate box office charts, the definition of mainstream is starting to shift. Because what's global isn't just what's exported from the US, it's what resonates across borders. Final thoughts. Hollywood's global dominance didn't happen by accident. It was built through strategy, timing, and cultural influence. But stories? They're universal. And they belong to everyone. As audiences evolve and new voices rise, we may be entering a new era, one where power isn't just held by the biggest studios, but by the boldest storytellers. And hey, if you found this deep dive into the history and influence of Hollywood eye-opening, make sure to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who loves film as much as you do. We've got more long-form explorations coming, unpacking the systems that shape our lives, the myths we live by, and the truths we tend to overlook. Stay curious. Stay kind. And I'll see you in the next one.